I just did a wholesale deal in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a $10,000 profit. And check it out. I got the lead from a PPL, pay per lead provider called iSpeed the Lead. And it was a $29 coupon lead that then I converted into a $10,000 profit wholesale deal. On today's video, I'm going to break it down coming up.
For a limited time, you can get a free copy of Jerry Norton's Cash Buyer Directory with over 200,000 cash buyers nationwide. Get it now at freecashbuyers.com.
Let me give you a little bit of context about how I like to operate. I've got 4 or 5 key markets that I focus on. So I'm not nationwide. I'm not virtual everywhere. I do that sometimes, but it's more for fun and for content. Meaning you can give me a lead anywhere and I'll call and I'll close it and wholesale it. I know how to do that. I've done that way virtual for many, many years. But today, as of now, I focus on 4 or 5 core markets. I target those areas with marketing. I've got partners actually in my businesses that are in each of those markets. And our model is to go on appointment. Now, I know you can close on the phone and it's wonderful if you can do a 1-call close. That's amazing. But I find today in the landscape that we're in, as competitive as it is, we just win a whole lot bigger if we go on appointment. So I want to meet the seller at the kitchen table. I want to be eyeball to eyeball and belly to belly. So we go on a lot of appointment. Because of that appointment model, we're going to highly concentrate on that market. And so in those different markets, we're doing multiple marketing methods in those particular markets. Well, one thing that we'd like to do is if any lead comes available on iSpeed the Lead in any of my core markets, we buy it. I don't care if it's the expensive $400 exclusive ones or if it's the coupon ones. If it's in those metro markets, we're buying those leads. So what happened in this case was this was Tulsa, Oklahoma, and this was actually a lead in Claremont, which is in our market. And this was a $29 lead. We ended up buying it and we called, no one answered. Double dialed, no one answered, triple dialed, and the guy answered, the seller answered. If you guys aren't double dialing and triple dialing, you really want to do that. Another trick that we do with these leads is before you call, go ahead and text. Text the number, and you might just say, "Hi, Keith, it's Jerry. I'm going to call you right now about your property for sale." Because then when you call, instead of coming up on their phone as possible spam, it comes up as possible Jerry Norton, because now you've established a connection through the text, and now your number comes up as a person, not as possible spam. So just that one thing alone has gotten our answer rates, way higher. Text it first, then call it. Don't answer, call it again, call it again. We do it 3 times. We send another follow-up text, which is, "Hey, just tried to call you." And the seller was an older gentleman. He had owned it for a while. His plans were to tear it down and build a duplex. And he never got around to it. You know how people have aspirations that they never do. And that was this case. So he'd owned it for a little while, never had done anything, and now was ready to just get rid of it. So we made the appointment. Next day, we're at the property. And this is my partner, Mark Gabriel, goes on appointment, meets the seller there. And it literally is a teardown. Like it's in rough shape. In fact, let me show you guys just what this looked like. Okay, so you can see here, this thing was full of stuff. Here's the kitchen. Look at this thing, just hammered floor to ceiling, walls falling down, splitting through the ceiling, kitchen just completely demolished. So here's the outside, siding falling down, roof looked okay, but a lot of people would consider this or had considered this a tear down property. So you can see no driveway, big giant tree, clearly a lot of work needing done. We met the seller out there and he wanted $65,000. We low anchored at $45,000. So the way that I like to do this is I find out what they want. They wanted 65. We go back and we say, "Look, I really need to be at 45,000 for this to work. The low anchor needs to be low enough that they say no, and it needs to be a ballpark." So we would say something like, "I need to be in the 40s, or I need to be somewhere around 45. I don't ever say the most I can pay is 45, because then if I come up off of that, I'm a liar and I lose integrity and I lose goodwill. So we say, we need to be somewhere around 40 or in the low 40s or mid 40s or somewhere around 45. That's my low anchor. And then we go up and down from there, and we ended up settling at 55,000. So we got the contract here for 55,000, and we walk out of there literally with a written contract. So We always bring 2 copies, one for you, one for me. Took our pictures while we were there. Then our dispo process, what it looks like is the way I like to dispo is I like to get a deal really discounted well. That's step one, get a phenomenal deal. I want everyone tripping over it. I want everyone fighting over it. I want to create an auction environment. But I also want to make a high assignment fee. So what we'll do is we'll get the contract, we'll put our package together, pictures, information, all the thing. And then what we'll do is we'll set up what I call an inspection party. And it's basically an open house. And we say, we're going to be showing this property on Wednesday between noon and 2 o'clock. And if you're interested, you got to come at that time. That's the only time we're showing it. Bring your investors, bring your contractors, bring your partners. That's it. And what I want to have happen is I want to have 50 cars lined out front. I want to have 100 people walking the property, and I want to create an auction environment. And what I'll do is I'll say, look, asking price is 55. That's asking price. Submit your best offer by Thursday at 4 o'clock. And I don't tell people, hey, I don't do a buy it now usually when I do that. And if people are like, hey, what's the number I need to be at? I say, hey, submit your best number. That wouldn't be fair to everybody else. I would just tell you to put in the highest number you can pay. We've got a lot of interest. And what that does is it draws out the highest paying buyer. I want to sell my house to the highest paying buyer in the marketplace. We did not do it this way on this one because we had a buyer. We had sold to that buyer before. He was pretty much ready to go. We do very well in the local Facebook groups and the Tulsa, Oklahoma investor groups. So we had posted this property in the Facebook group, and we had a very interested buyer immediately respond. And it was 2 Mexican brothers that are investors, and they have all Mexican labor. And so their cost is like super minimal. They rehabbed this entire house in about 3 weeks. They're about to list it already. They said they did it for $48,000. Now there's no way in heck you or I could do it. I would be double that at least to rehab that house. And they're about to list it for $215,000. And then we turned around and we disposed it to the Mexican investor for $65,000. So a $10,000 wholesale. It's really funny because I went and checked on PropWire. So if you go to this property, it's on Cates Avenue in Claremont, and you go to the history, you see here, Joe Homebuyer, that's me of Greater Tulsa. We bought it from Timothy Garrett for $55,000. And we sold it to these guys, Mainstay Properties LLC, for $65,000. And we did it on the 31st. And so on March 31st, you can see here it's recorded as $55,000. We sold it at $65,000 and made that $10,000 assignment. And it was super easy, super fast, went really smooth. And so when the buyers came out, when we put the dispo package out, they were like, yeah, we want it. We were hoping for a 10K in a market like that. We're pretty happy if we can do 10K, 15K, sometimes 20K, but a 10K assignment in Tulsa, Oklahoma on a $55,000 house is pretty good. Like that's great. And even better, it was a $29 coupon lead. So, I mean, for us, the ROI on that is absolutely phenomenal. Spend $29 to make 10K. I mean, I would do that again and again all day long. And I think that's a valuable lesson that I want to point out here and just put some emphasis on is, for whatever reason, people didn't follow up. They didn't call it. They weren't willing to maybe meet the seller. He was an older gentleman. I think really meeting him in person meant a lot to him. I think he felt a lot more confidence meeting a buyer in person. Some people don't like contracting and selling over the phone. I mean, so having that ability to go on appointment, I think, is huge. Our buyers were pretty easy to work with. They got hard money. And they put, I think it was $10,000 down in earnest money, non-refundable earnest money. So they were serious. And we closed a couple weeks after that. No hiccups, super easy in and out deal, 10K on that assignment. So we did not even attempt to close it over the phone. Our intent with that phone call was to set the appointment and meet in person. That was our goal, and to do that as quick as possible. Oftentimes, by the way, on PPL leads, iSpeed to lead leads, we want to meet that minute. We'll call, and if we get a hold of them, we'll say, look, we're in the area. Can we stop by in an hour? Because I know there's competition, and I don't want somebody else to close the deal between now and tomorrow, right, when I'm going to go on appointment. So in this case, though, the next day was as soon as he wanted to meet. So we met the next day, locked it up. Okay, is there a big difference between exclusive and $29 leads? Yeah, exclusive is going to be no one else gets it but you. And if no one buys those, they roll over to the discounted leads. And then those are opened up to other people. So multiple people could buy that lead, and now you're competing with them, which is why it's so cheap. The exclusives, though, are going to be much more because you're buying the exclusive right to have that lead. And it's based on the market too. So if you're in a really competitive, hot market, but why do I not have an issue with that? Well, for one, we're better on the phone. Two, we go on appointment. And three, I'll buy $29 leads all day long. That's so cheap, guys. I mean, are you kidding me? $29 for someone that said they want to sell their house that's identified with some levels of motivation? Heck yeah, man, I'll buy those. That's so cheap. Why would you not buy those? Buy every single one of those you can. You know, they're the best thing ever. I love them.